Hello everybody, this is Chet Bolingbrook, the CRPG Addict, and today we're going to take a look at the 1990 game DarkSpyre. The game's about to assault us with some introductory music, so I'll stop talking until this is over. Okay, I'll turn the music off so that we don't have to hear that anymore. So as we begin, I'm on a level called Swords and Arrows, and the reason it's called that, we can see when I cast my magic map spell and bring up the map of the level. You can see I'm over there where the X is, and the exit is where the white block is just to my east. So I'm not too far away from the exit, but there's 3 doors in between me and the exit, and I'm going to have to navigate the level for the objects necessary to open these 3 doors. Now, the framing story of this game is that it takes place in sort of a generic medieval kingdom where these 3 gods have shown up and have erected this dark spire, and have told the people that if a champion can't conquer the DarkSpyre within a certain time period, a couple hundred years, they will destroy the world and recreate it. So in the framing story of the game, it kind of makes sense that the levels look like this, that they're very constructed. They're not natural dungeon levels or anything, but it still gets to be a little bit much sometimes. Now my character, Gideon, started out as a man and at one point got changed into a woman by a rune. These runes, you can see that I have 4 of them here, are found throughout the game, and they all do different things. There are ones that I have to hold on to Tawaz, Uraz, and this one here, Awaz, to win the game. These other 2 allow me to save the game. They're the only way that you can save the game. And there are others that do various things for your character. One of them, called the Odin rune, occasionally changes your character into the opposite sex, and thus I am now female, although hopefully I'll find another rune later on and manage to change him back to his original sex. You can see my attributes here. I decided to go with a magic-heavy character for this game. I thought that I'd go against what I normally do and cast a lot of spells to get through the enemies in the game. It turns out that's not really a viable strategy. The spells cost a lot of spell points to cast, and as you can see, it just went up a tick, but spell points regenerate so slowly that you really can't rely on spell casting to get you through most of the game. So I've had to rely mostly on weapons, which have an unfortunate tendency to break in the middle of combat, so you've got to keep some spares with you. So I've got a couple of spares. Right now I'm holding a long sword and a throwing axe, and what I like to do is hurl the axe when I first see the enemy and then attack them with the sword. Here you can see my different weapon skills. So as you use your weapons, your skills increase, and so I'm most adept with the 2 weapons that I'm currently holding, a long-edged weapon and a hurled weapon. Here you can see my magic skills, and I'm most adept at being a healer because I'm always casting spells to create healing potions to heal myself. If you're familiar with the game Dungeon Master from 1987, this is very similar in its mechanics, except that it's a third-person game instead of a first-person game. So we see top-down navigation instead of first-person navigation. But other than that, it's actually quite similar in that weapons have different actions associated with them. Again, the skill system, as you increase your use of weapons, your skills increase. The way that we create potions by casting a spell and then sort of liquefying the potion. The various items that you find in the levels, teleporters, keyholes, pressure plates, doors, etc. So there's an awful lot in common with Dungeon Master. It's just a very different interface. As you can see, I've been sort of sliding up the interface between the main window and my character here, and you can set this wherever you want as you play the game. I normally set it about here so I can see most of my inventory while I adventure. So let's illustrate some of the complexities of this game while I've just reloaded. As I said, you can only reload with these runes that you find. You can only save, rather, with these runes that you find. And so every level you find only one, so you don't get to save very often, and you have to, you want to do most of your experimenting shortly after you've saved, if indeed you plan to do some experimenting. So here, clearly I have to get through these doors, and this skull tells me blood from the point of the arrow is whatever that is what I need to get through this door hole. This skull over here tells me don't take a step. Well, that's a nice sentiment, except there's no other way to leave the room right now except to go through this teleportal. Unfortunately, if I do, I end up in this area here from which I cannot escape. There's no way out of here, no place to step on, no amount of waiting around is ever going to get me out of here. The game very frequently puts you in these Walking Dead scenarios, and so the only way to get out is to reload the game and return to this room. So how am I going to get out of this room? Clearly I can't go through the door, I can't go through the teleportal. Well, the answer is, and this is something you just learned playing the game, I'm going to throw something into that teleporter. So I'm going to choose a empty potion bottle because I've just got more than I really need to hold on to at any given time. So I'll toss this potion bottle through that teleporter, and the teleporter disappears, and another teleporter appears up there. And probably what happened was that when you saw me go through the portal to begin with, you might have noticed that I ended up standing on a pressure plate that I couldn't get off of. Well, activating that pressure plate must trigger the deactivation of one teleportal and the activation of another. So I'll go through this, after I rearm myself here, I'll go through this teleportal. And now I find myself in a little room here with two more. Don't have any idea which way to go. Maybe I'll go this way. Oh, now I end up on a single square. Now I'm back here again. Maybe I'll go this way. Nope, this way. And finally I found myself in a new area. And this is where I want to be. But the first time I played this level, it took me a while to navigate those teleportals. Now here's another example. I've got this ball here and a pressure plate over there. And if I step on the pressure plate and start heading down the hall, I notice that fireballs start coming at me. So I'll try to quickly get past them. And here I go to this area here, and I find this little red globe, which I'll pick up. Red sphere, so that's probably what I need to open that first door. But you notice there's no way out of the room. Now I didn't do it because I didn't want to have to reload again. But one thing that might have been somewhat natural is when I saw the fireballs coming at me, to push that ball ahead of me down the corridor and block the fireballs. And indeed this is what I did the first time I played the level. So that way the fireballs can't hit me, I'm safely protected behind the ball. I don't need to keep pushing it, it'll go on its own. But guess what happens? The ball wedges itself in that little corner there, and then I couldn't get the globe the first time, so I had to reload and try again. And I didn't even know there was a globe there, but I knew that there was. Ultimately, when I couldn't find any other way out of the level, I figured something must be there. So, again, it's one of the many ways the game kind of messes with you and forces you to try every level multiple times. Now, how am I going to get out of here? Well, whenever there's a pressure plate and no other way out of the level, seemingly, and I'm going to have to wait a second for the fireballs to come down. I don't know why they didn't, but I thought, oh, because the ball is blocking them now. Whenever you see this, it's a good sign that you've got to weigh down the pressure plate with something, and then something will appear later on in the level. Now, I don't have a lot of good candidates to weigh it down with, because I guess I have an extra axe, so I don't need this extra throwing axe. So I will put it on the pressure plate. And that was enough weight. Some pressure plates require more weight than others, so you have to put heavier things on them. Others, some of them are so they require so much weight, you've got to like push a wall onto them in order to get them to work. Now that it's weighed down, I can see that this teleportal appears here in the upper part of the arrowhead. So I'll go through. And I'm going to use that globe that I picked up in this hole to open the first gate. So far so good. Let's see what the second one wants. Poison on the blade of the dagger. I don't know exactly what that means, but again, there's still no other way out of here than this way. So I'll have to navigate these portals again. Now, I won't go through all the whole process I went through the first time, but suffice to say there's an awful lot of trial and error in this game. And I had to learn the hard way that the way to navigate through this is to throw more things into these portals to weigh down other pressure plates and to get other things to happen. So, according to my notes here, what I need to do is toss something into the northern teleportal. And I hate to waste potions, but I really have more bottles than I need. And then enter it. And then once again, and I don't know if I want to waste another. I got plenty of those red potions. Those are cure poison potions. So I'll toss another one in here. And enter it. And now I'm in the, if you recall that map, there was a thing in the lower left-hand corner that looked like a knife or a dagger. It said blood from the point of the dagger, so I have to go down to the point of the dagger in order to get the next item. So going over here, we see a bunch of pressure plates, and I've got to figure out which of these to activate, probably to close this teleportal so I can get past it. So I can try stepping on the various plates, and it looks like the one that deactivates it is this one here, but it also closes the so I've got to also step on the right combination of other plates to open that door after I close it. But I'm going to need to weigh this down again, and this one requires some additional weight. I don't have a lot that will work, so what I'm going to actually do is give it my armor. I have 2 suits of armor right now. They both, since this one is pretty shoddy, this one is in good condition, they both offer the same protection. So I'll put my shell mail on the pressure plate, put on my leather, and you can see my armor level down here. My protection level is rugged. If I put my shield on, it's ironclad. Okay, so with that weighed down, I should... Oh. I don't know why I had my notes said that would work. Hang on, I'm going to have to go back to that. Well, that's interesting. When I played this the first time, the way I got by this was I threw this log onto that pressure plate. I later thought the better of it because somebody told me that log is, the driftwood is important later, but I'll just assume that I'll find it again. So apparently what I need to do is throw it on the plate, and then I can, I still need to remove that door, but I can do that with a knock spell. So you can see how the spell system works. You activate your spell book by equipping it, then you ready the spell, you choose the school of spell casting that you want. So I've got sorcery here, and then I'll choose the knock spell in the sorcery school. Now it readies that in my my inventory list here, and so now I'll face the door and cast it. And you end up having to cast that a lot to open doors in this game. I'll head down here, and I cross that pressure plate and I get poisoned, but I can take the sphere, recross it, and I'm poisoned and confused. That's why I'm bumbling about a bit. But as I said before, I have plenty of these these cure poison potions. I'll drink one of those to cure my poison, and head back up. And it turns out I get to get my driftwood back because I need to reactivate this teleportal to get out of here. Now back at the beginning. And I'll use my green globe on the second door. The third door requires a gem from the hilt of the sword. So I've got to go to the sword-shaped area and get that gem. Now there's some broken glass over here, probably from something I threw into one of the teleporters. So these are good things to have just as junk items to toss into teleporters, which is what I'm going to have to do next. Go in here, I toss that item down here. And I cut out of some of what just happened because I got confused and ended up going in the wrong way. But ultimately I found my way to the blade of the sword, and now I have to head down to the hilt. Now the sword has a bunch of enemies. You can see one attacking me right here. And so I'm going to need to fight him. And first I'm going to, since he's already upon me, I'm going to equip my shield there. And I'm going to just using my sword to attack with thrust and slash. Notice every time I make an attack, it turns a different color, and I've got to wait for it to turn back to white again before, oh, here comes another one, before I can do another attack. So I'm just alternating between thrust and slash. I can also smash with my shield, but I don't think it gives me any skills if I do that, so I don't want to do that. I've got a couple of those potions that I tossed back again, so that's good. Ooh, another one. And a few items here, a throwing knife, a bolt, a buckler, another bolt. It doesn't really make any sense to have blank inventory items in this game, because as you've seen, I've had to toss a lot of my stuff away to get through the different teleporters and such, so I like to keep my inventory full, especially with items that I don't really want, because they make good fodder for those pressure plates and those teleporters that you have to throw things into. Here comes another one. Thrust, slash, smash with my shield. It didn't connect. You can see the hit points that it's doing on top of each character as the attack connects. Let's get my axe ready here. Now there's at least one more. Yeah, three more. Throw my axe. I was awfully close when I did that, but re-equip my shield here. Now, that warrior maiden I was attacking, her hit points got too low, so she took off, and I'll have to chase her down. The enemies do that, they flee. Ooh, I gotta care about the bolt, I care about the amulet. Amulets, like weapons and armor, will often break in the middle of combat, so I had a bunch at one point, and then I slowly worked through them. So the one I just equipped was an amulet of agility, and you can see that it increased my agility to 19 from the 15 that it was before. Alright, so there's too much stuff here now. I'm going to have to make some choices. I don't really think the arrows aren't really particularly valuable, so I'll just get rid of the arrows. Get my axes back. Except I'm a little bit overweight now. Drop another arrow. There we go. Okay, let's finish off that warrior maiden. Huh. Did I hit her off screen? Or did she just keep fleeing? Nope, she just kept fleeing. Die, there we go. Oh, and she had another amulet. Amulet of hits. Again, I'm just a little bit overweight. Get rid of another arrow and I'm all set. What's that? It's a helm. Same helm I already have. Oh no, it's not. Yeah, it is. So, no use there, and I accidentally threw the... Oh, stop it. Sometimes I get mixed up between the key that takes things and the key that throws things. When we get down to the bottom, the base of this this hilt here, you'll see it looks like I'm blocked, but these walls are actually movable, and I can push them out of the way. And I need to push this one on the pressure plate above it. And this one onto that pressure plate. And a teleporter appears. I jump into it. And now I'm at the base of the hilt. Now I know the end is near because it's giving me my Rado rune, the rune that allows me to save my progress, and my Chalice of Ambrosia, which I can't carry right now. Just go ahead and drink that right away. So the Ambrosia, when I drink it, increases my maximum hit points and spell points by some random amount. I didn't get a whole lot that time. And I need to get rid of something here. I guess I don't need the throwing knife with so many axes. And the purple sphere that I need to get through the final door. So the Rado rune and the Ambrosia Chalice occur... Oh, how did I get here? Occur towards the end of every level. They're sort of your reward for beating the level. And although it didn't seem like it took that long or require that much effort, it took me about 4 times the amount of time that we've been looking at it the first time I went through, just because there's so much trial and error associated with all of those teleporters and getting all of the settings right. And you can see as I'm talking that clearly I still don't know where I'm going despite having played through it once. Here we go. And back to the beginning. I can now use my globe to open up the last doorway, and now I have the teleporting exit that will take me out of the level, never to return. Now before I leave, since my hit points are comparably low compared to my spell points, what I'm going to do is equip my spell book and one of the potions bottles, the empty potion bottles, and just quickly go through a process of readying the liquefy spell, casting it, and drinking the resulting potion. So the liquefy spell creates a healing potion if you don't have anything else in your hand. If you're holding a gem, which you find throughout the game, then it liquefies the gem and creates a different kind of potion. I haven't found the potions terribly valuable. There's one that creates a bomb, sort of a poison bomb that you can throw, but it doesn't really do that much damage. There's one that, the cure poison ones are vital for the times that you actually get poisoned. There's one that restores endurance if it depletes because you're swinging a pretty heavy weapon, but it depletes really fast, and the potion only restores 1 point, so it really doesn't do a lot to help you. So I haven't. And the healing potion obviously is an easy one, but it doesn't heal all that much, so they're not really that useful to have for combat. They're really only useful after combat when you're trying to restore your hit points, like I just did. Alright, I'm going to use my Rado rune. I still have 2 that I didn't use before, so I can always use those in a pinch if I need to. So I've equipped it, and I'm going to invoke it, and that allows me to save the game. And now I'll re-equip the stuff that I want to have. and head through the teleportal and see where it takes me. There's a certain randomness to this game in that it sort of randomizes the levels that you face in between each section of the game. So what I'm trying to do right now is excuse me, find the rune of I forgot actually. Let's see. On the way to the rune of accuracy. So I'm trying to find the rune of accuracy. There's 5 runes that you have to find before the end game, and I found 3 of them already. But in between the rune levels, where you actually find the runes, the order of things can be randomized, so everybody faces a slightly different game. More than that, it will throw even random levels into the mix. Random maze levels with no teleportals or no lever puzzles and things like that. But so that might show up as an option too. So every player faces a very different game. And indeed, if I simply reload, I don't know whether this level is hard or easy, so it's not going to make a difference to me. But if I reload to where I saved with the Rado rune and go through the door again, I might end up in a completely different level. Yep, I did. So I'm in one called Once Bitten, Twice Die Babe this time. So that's a quick tour of gameplay in DarkSpyre. I'm probably going to take a break from it now because it took me a long time to get through that last level, and the game really does start to get tedious after a while when you're trying all these different trial and errors and reloading to figure out the best path to get through a level. It's been a long time since the first 3 or 4 levels that I was able to get through on without having to reload, because there's just so many of those moments where you don't have the item you need, or you're in a place that you can't get out of, and you've got to really pay careful attention and take lots of notes. Anyway, I hope this was enjoyable, and read my blog to see what happens with my continuing adventures in DarkSpyre. Thank you.